I'm live. Who says I'm live? It's not even showing people. Zero people. It's got to change, man. Still zero people. Ah, okay, there's somebody here. It's not showing you. Oh, there's 9 people. All right. Well, what do you know? 9 people. Whew. Hang on, man. You know, get my game face on here. Okay. Well, here I am. I'm alive, and this week I wanted to cover a few different things. One of them being why people don't get it. Why is it so hard for people to see this Delphi case in the same way that I do? Because literally, there is nobody out there reporting this in the same manner that I am. Zero. Nada. Like not one. So it has struck me as very odd over the last about a year and a half as to why people don't get it. You know, am I not explaining it correctly? Did I not point out every aspect, every criteria, every circumstance? Was I not forthright in what I had said to be clear that, yes, the person that committed these crimes was Thomas J. Bruce, and it still remains as such. So I did want to cover that as to why. And every time that I ask somebody this, they're like, you know what? I just don't get it. Why would they say that at the briefing? Like somebody ages 18 to 40 and give a new sketch. Why would they do that? I'm like, you know what? I would explain it, but it's become pretty clear. You still wouldn't get it. You still wouldn't. It wouldn't matter how I explained it. It wouldn't matter what song, what dance, what little, I did. It wouldn't make a shit. You would not get it. And I think it maybe they don't point to it like that on CSI. I don't know. I ain't watched television in some years, but I don't really know why people don't get it. Why they don't understand it. Hey, what's up, Keith? Keith, do I know you by chance? Let me know if I do. Yeah, do I? You know what? I got the tattoo like Jagger too, man. Got that in basic training actually back in '86. It was the first tattoo I got. That's right. Yeah, Oklahoma. You know what? I was thinking that I have a cousin in Kokomo, and his last name is Sharp. Hey, Engler, Sterling, Chad. Now, you see, Chad, that's where you're wrong. That is exactly where you're wrong. Because if you would watch some of my videos, man, you would be quite clear on who did it. You would know the same way that I know, by the same reasons that I know. And all of it is on this channel. I mean, I covered the case extensively on my previous channel, me and Greeno, but the point being is that Greeno was not around when the name Thomas Jerome Bruce came across my table. And I started looking into it after I found out they had called Carroll County, and all criteria is met. He is the person that committed Delphi, as well as Evans Dale and Mary Pryor and Dan Pates. And, of course, the Catholic supply store with a big possibility of Susan Collins added on. Hey, Tim. You know what, man? I mean, I whenever somebody pops up, I always hey, how you doing? Oh, crap. Hang on a minute. But I was watching some guy talking about how to do a live show on YouTube. And every time somebody would pop up, he'd go, hey, how you doing? And I thought, man, that's so annoying. And I'm doing the same thing. And every time I do it, I think, man, I'm probably sounding just like that guy. Hey, and how you doing, man? Glad you're here. I spoke to Icons last night, man. His mom and dad are both doing okay. Did you? Stylist? You know what? Reach me right here, if you would, concerning. Let me throw up my email here. Bam, right there. If you don't mind sending me a email right there, I'd be happy to send one right back to you. Years back. Outstanding, man. If you would reach me there, that would be awesome as all get out. I would appreciate it. Yeah, man. Don't hop in, Sterling. You know? Let me do some questioning here. Make our day, exactly. You know, I got a hold of his neighbor that lived there in God, man, hang on. Now I forget the name. Imperial. And you know, she had been questioned by the FBI, you know, about the Delphi video to see if she could make him out of that video. And she told me, I'll tell you what I told the FBI. I can't tell whether that's him or not. Oh, the phone? Oh, yeah. Stylist, if you would not mind phoning, here's the number. Let me pull the number up. I'll do it on the little ticker. And also the same phone number right there. If you do not mind giving a call, that would be just cool as all get out. You know what? That is exactly what I thought. It really is. I mean, because after the Catholic supply store, and I mean, like I do, I mean, you know, from my heart, I mean, I can tell where she's at, but she did seem like she was a super sweet lady, you know, and she was very apologetic toward the friends and family of the victims, and said that she had no idea that her husband could have ever did anything like that. I mean, she was completely blown down by it, but to me, and maybe to many of you, I think that things are going to get far worse as time goes on, because after his case is complete down there, he's going to be hit by 4, maybe 5, maybe 6 differing states on top of what he's already got. And that's going to be the ugliness of it. No, it was the video, Peaches. It wasn't the photo. I mean, I'm talking about the video, the one that they gave us at the briefing they showed her. Now, I was talking to a certain someone, and I believe that was last night. And because we had asked about the video right up front. I mean, that was probably around July of 2017. Me and Greeno had asked Sheriff Leslie, well, why don't you release that 1.5-step video where it would be a cleaner, you know, than the photos taken off of it, where it wouldn't be that pixelated. Well, they did end up giving the video over, but they already knew who did it, and they didn't want anybody to know who it was. Might be a reason why the video is as pixelated as the photos. Just maybe. Because I'll tell you right now, if I had an identical phone and I was at the same distance away from the person as what she was, I'll guarantee you that the video I would upload to YouTube would be 5 times better than the pixelated crap that they gave us. That is a fact. I don't think it was no cheap cell phone, you know. SKS or what is GSK? Oh, the Golden State Killer. Hang on, you hit me. I had to think of the name D'Angelo. You know what? I think it'd be bigger than that. I really do, because man, this case has went international. It really has. And I mean, there's people on here from UK all over the place. And you know, I'm happy that it got that kind of attention because of the case that happened. You know, to me, and understand, man, that the whole reason that I started following this at all was because it's right up the road from me. You know, my dad lives right up the road from there, you know, from where it happened. And it was like almost like in my hometown, a little bitty spot in the road. And something like that happens. And then, you know, it gets like national attention, international attention. You know, they're having like a 1-year press conference. I mean, it was a big, huge story. And a lot of people know of it. And a lot of people are looking into it. And it's like someone said earlier, man, about like all the hearsay online. It is all hearsay. And people reach me and say like, hey, did you hear what's his name had to say about this case on his channel? And I'm like, no, I don't even go watch Greeno's channel. You know, I mean, I don't because if that person ain't around me, it's like that's their thoughts on it, man. I don't want my mind clouded with other people's crap. I don't care what rumor is. I don't care what somebody says I heard. I don't care, because if I didn't look into it and find it, it means nothing to me. Nada. Yeah. Yeah, well, and I was also telling the same person last night that when he is brought in for his initial arraignment in Carroll County, it will be standing room only on the courthouse lawn, because Al Jazeera will be there. Every media agency. Hang on a minute. Hold on. I'll be right back. That's probably my rat. I'll explain in just a moment. Yeah, hey, it is my rat. Man, you know what? Have you guys ever noticed that the only time that people ever knock on my door is when I'm doing a live show? Have you guys noticed that? Is it not peculiar? People show up. Hey man, could you help me with the hay? Could you help me with the chickens? Could you help me with the horses? Could you do this? Could you do that? And it's always between the hours of 6 and 9 p.m. on Tuesday. Yeah, crazy. Anyway, I got a rat. It's a male rat. Allow me to explain briefly. I go back like 2 weeks ago, man. I noticed a hole down at the horse barn. I said, man, it looks like a rat hole. So I got my trail cam and I set it up on the outside. It was a rat hole. Okay. And it was a rat, right? Okay. So I live trapped that rat, a female. So this is why I bought a domestic male rat, so that I could breed them. I put her in the Critter Nation cage, and then I'll have wild colored domestic rats. That's where the money's at, people. Got to know your genetics. Because, see, the agouti coloration is double dominant over the fancy coloration. That way all the babies will come out with the wild color. Yep. So anyway, allow me to get back to where I was. And where was I, if anybody remembers? Anybody? Throw a hand up. Anyway, let's see. Yeah, that the courthouse. Because when he does get there, Boris Karloff died. What? I thought he was dead, man. Oh, you know what? Was fine, man. And thanks for asking. He really is. Come here, Bear. Hey, Woof. Woof. Hey. Come here. Well, come here. Hurry up. Over here. What the fuck are you looking for? Hang on, man. He's looking for something. But yeah, he's fine. Oh, is it a troll? You know what? See, that's the first thing that always hits me. And you know what? Normally, Alaska Blue's like right here to send them on their way. If somebody else could send them on their way, anybody, anyone. So, anybody. So, anyhow, yeah, you know what? I looked at this earlier on YouTube, and it had 1 thumbs down, and I thought, God, trolls, that's so 2019. It's like, move on, just get on with your life. It's like after like, God, a couple years, don't you get it? I just straight don't give a flying flip. I don't. It doesn't mean fuck to me. I don't even care. The videos ain't even monetized, and I don't give a flying fuck if you report them. Go fuck yourself. It's like, I just don't give a damn. The only people giving a damn is the fucking trolls. And I don't know why they give a damn when I don't. It seems kind of ignorant. I don't know. Maybe it's just me. Thanks, man. Appreciate it. So anyway, yeah, here, yeah. That's why, because he's a rat terrier. He's smelling everywhere around, looking for the rat. And it's right there, isn't it, Bear? Yeah. Hey, people had concern for you, man. They remembered last week. You was having a bad week, wasn't you? You had a real bad week. Well, yeah, it's a rat, Bear. Can't eat it. You know what? He's paid very little attention to the rat in the cage, and it's a wild rat. You'd think he'd be losing his mind. Didn't pay it any attention at all, man. I bring this rat in, man. He's smelling around the house. I didn't know what he was looking for until he came up to the rat box, and I'm like, I see. Yeah, Wolf had a bad week, man, last week. But you know what? He's going to make it, or he's going to live to be like 18, 19, maybe 28. I don't know. He'll be an old dude when he goes. He'll be a real old puppy bear. Boy. All right. Hang on. Let me get you over to the armchair. There you go. All right. Carry on for a minute. All right. So anyway, back to the suspect at hand. When he does go to court, and it will be just during the initial arraignment, because after that, I'm sure that they're going to change that to a different city. In fact, it's kind of my question as to like where they're going to hold this trial, because there's going to be multiple states, and they can't really go in an order, if you see where I'm at, because that would go all the way back. And they're starting at round one and then taking it to every one. And we'd never see him in Carroll County for about the next 6, 8, 10 years. And I don't think that they're going to wait that long. So I think that they're going to go in, try to get him to plead guilty to all of them. Then he'll go in, plead guilty to all of them, and then they'll give him life without parole that he'll still serve right down in Missouri where there's no justice at all for it. So that's probably what we're looking at. And the feds love to do that. Remember Larry Hall? He's sitting in federal prison for kidnapping and transporting the body across state lines. Did not get him for one murder. Murder is not what he's in there for. And he's doing life without parole. Yeah. And now Denise Flume, they don't even go down and question him. Oh, he said he didn't have anything to do with it. He's fucking lying. And he knows that if you had the body, that things would change on that. Since you don't, then all he's got to do is go, nope, wasn't even there. Wasn't even around there. Wasn't me. And they go about their way. I said, you want to know who did it? Go talk to his fucking brother. Tell him you're going to hit him with fucking capital murder charges. Smart Money says he shits himself right before he starts turning his brother in. Because he helped. That's what I believe. Because I think it was a two-man job. I mean, from the looks of it. Because I don't think that one man could have did all that in the amount of time it would have took. That's me. But if it was two people, it was his brother, because Larry Hall had said that he was tired of covering for his brother for ones that he helped commit. And his brother, not in prison. No, sir. That's a noisy little rat, man. You know what? I'm going to take him out real quick. Let's just take a quick look at this rat. Oh, hey. Come here, man. Little bitty rat. Kind of a cute little rat, aren't you? Aw. Don't worry, man. I got a female for you. You're going to love her, man. You and her will really get along. That's my hope. Okay, so anyway, back to the subject at hand. So if there is anybody out there, and if you have a question that is not this, that does not have anything to do with this subject matter, but Mr. Katt, at the briefing, they said 18 to 40. Yeah, and they gave a new sketch of a younger guy without a fucking hat on. Yeah, cops wouldn't lie, dude. CSI, they never lie. They're honorable. Took an oath of office, Constitution, and all that horse shit. Yeah, exactly. But their investigation is not through, and they can say as they want because they already have up to now and still didn't look us in the eye and tell us the God's honest straight news. No, not at all. They stretched it. They said, well, at this time, we can neither include nor exclude Daniel Nations as being there. Well, we knew that when you fucking left. Daniel Nation says, yeah, they didn't even talk to me. Public defender stopped him at the door and said, nope, he ain't talking to him without my consent. So they didn't even talk to me. I said, well, now it makes sense. Kim Riley admitted that when I talked to him. Because I said, yeah, man. Well, that may be, Caitlin. However, I don't know that bat meat's bad. I don't. I mean, I'd eat bat if I had to. I'd eat rat if I had to. Remember, man, I mean, that was in Apocalypse Now, man, you know, where he was talking about that. You know, Charlie was still in the bush eating rat meat, being happy. Yeah. So bats, rats, elephants. You know, elephants probably just taste a lot like cow. Think about it. So anyway, if you have a question concerning the Delphi murders, Evansdale, or the like, give me a call. However, don't make it about the effing briefing. I've been very clear on that. I repeated myself. I did a 2-hour show on that. And every time somebody reaches me about it, they ask the same question, worded just a little bit different. There she is. Bam. She made it. Well done. I was missing you. You was under message. So give me a call. You like Katt? Here it is, man. This is the question. Because you know what? As I stated the other night, man, there isn't a question. What? Tom Selleck's dead too. Shit. Okay. Well, if Tom Selleck isn't dead, if he is not, Aladdin. Send Jenner on her way, or his way, depending on how you look at it, troll. Yeah, it's the same people, man. I mean, you know what? Here's the thing. These people don't call, right? And they don't call for a reason. And, you know, it always leads me to think, why? Do I know the voice? Does it sound a lot like the Cunningham? Does it? I bet it does. I know it does. Exactly. Yeah, but they still pop up. He's got multiple accounts, man. He just comes back, give a thumbs up to be like, look, I'm being a little girl about shit. That's how they are, man. So if you don't have any questions, this could be a really short show. Really, really short. Because otherwise, you know what I'm doing? I'm repeating myself. Same as I have for the last year and a half. Just why? I would eat a rat. I'd eat an elephant. I mean, not to sit down as a meal like, oh, look, I'm having a tasty rat today. But I'm saying, look, man, if you're in a bunker, man, and you ain't eating a week, man, let me tell you, a rat would probably be your best friend. Know that right now. Something to think about. The bridge guy. Okay. Well, I'll tell you what. You called the number right there on the screen. Hell yeah. I hope this is her. Hello.
Hey, this is Kim. How are you? On the trail, Kim.
On the trail, Kim. How are you?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm doing.
Good. Well, I wanted to call in. I have kind of a different kind of question, but
that's fine.
Yeah. What is the most surprising thing you have learned while covering the Delphi case?
That would probably be the fact that the suspect had never been caught committing a crime before. That would probably be number one. And in fact, when I was talking about that, and again, I think it was last night, That was probably number one. Now, second to that was the DNA, because when the investigator told me that he agreed with me, however, they could not clear me without a DNA sample, I was like, so you guys got suspect DNA. I'm making a video. So there's been a couple things like that I found out. And after 1 year, because we was in hope that there would be a suspect announced. And we could tell by the way that they was setting up that they were not setting up to announce a suspect. Now, after it was over, that's when I got the information from Trooper Riley about the suspect never committing a crime before. But that opened up so many doors, because then when you think about it, it's like, God, I don't know who in the hell never committed a crime before. You know, I was never around them.
Right.
So yeah, that was those were the two biggest, I believe. And but go ahead.
Sorry, go ahead. I was going to say, even I have been fingerprinted. They did it. I worked for a big company, and they had us all fingerprinted. So I'm in a database somewhere, and I'm a 61-year-old woman accountant that, you know, nobody's ever heard of. So it's just so surprising he wasn't in the database.
I agree. I really do. Now, I know that when me and Greeno was talking to Sheriff Lesenby about that, about DNA, because Greeno said, well, they took my DNA, you know, and they already got it in there. So why would they want to get it again? And he said, well, there's a lot of technicalities and loopholes and stuff like that you got to go through to get your hands on that. Now, I do know that he was in the Navy, and a person says, well, they would have it. Yeah, but that wouldn't be in the, how do I put it? Like in the, I don't want to say federal, but in the national legal system, because that's outside of the average legal system in the military. You know, you're under a different band of laws. So I think that was in part the holdup. But I know that nationally, he had never been arrested. So they didn't have his fingerprints or DNA on file.
Right. I wonder if the Navy would release it.
Yeah.
My dad was in the Navy, but I'm not real happy with how they treated the Roosevelt captain. But that's another story.
Yeah, I got you covered. Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, you know what? I think once they knew who had did it, I think that the Navy probably came off of all that to the FBI. I would suspect. You know, I don't know that. I don't know how they operate, but if you're looking at one federal to the other federal, it seems like they would go, yeah, we'll give you that, because then it would. But at that time, they already had his DNA and fingerprints, so it was kind of regardless. They had already got his fingerprints, and the FBI showed up, I think the day after or the second day after he was arrested, to get his DNA.
Which of his crimes do you think that they have the most evidence and they feel the most confident about?
Delphi.
Okay.
No doubt. Now,
so then,
go ahead.
I was just thinking, though, I would imagine that his lawyer would say he couldn't get a fair trial in Delphi.
Well, yeah, and they will, and he's right. I don't think that there's much of a person in Delphi or Carroll County that hasn't had a pointed finger at him here or there.
Right.
I mean, look, in a town of 3,500 people, over 60,000 people have been phoned in. You know, it's crazy. It's like, okay, there isn't a newborn in Carroll County that hadn't heard of this. So there ain't no way that they could get like you know, a jury in there of registered voters that had not heard of this case. That would be impossible.
Yeah. You almost would have to move, I would think, states. Even though I'm not from Indiana, I would imagine everybody has heard that.
You know what? It may seem that way, but I could go into Kokomo right now and find somebody rather quickly that lives there that didn't know anything about it. And we're a neighboring county. But if you go into Carroll County, everybody heard of it. Everybody.
Okay. Yeah, so it definitely probably would not be in Carroll County then.
No. In fact, I think they would probably have to go to Indianapolis, Evans, Fayetteville, Fort Wayne. You could find somebody there, but even that would probably be a bit hard.
Right. Well, the police will have a difficult time protecting him because I imagine there's a lot of, like I think, was it you that was saying there would probably be a riot when they brought him in or announced it?
Well, not I don't say riot. I mean, it wouldn't be like that. But I think that when they bring him into the initial arraignment, it's going to be standing room only, and that's just media alone at the courthouse. But, you know, when you step outside of the courthouse, because everybody in that county and all neighboring counties will be around the courthouse, I believe that they will have National Guard on hand. Now, I say that for this reason. Amber Green, he was arrested, and I believe that was in 1868 or 1869. And they held him in Cass County, which is a neighboring county to the north in Carroll County. And they had National Guard there at that time because there was people like talking about forming a mob to lynching.
Right.
So I think that they will have like heavy people there, you know, armed, because there's going to be a lot of people there and it's going to get out of hand rather quickly. But they got to have the initial there in Carroll County. And that's going to be the one where they sneak him in, get it done, and get him out. You know, they're not even, I don't even know. Well, I guess they would kind of have to. Maybe. I don't know how they're going to do that. I don't know how they could like sneak him in without anybody knowing and then go, he was here. Now he's gone. Yeah.
I think that would be very difficult.
Exactly. Well, that's what I mean. It would be hard not for somebody to know and the media to be there. Once the media was there, everybody would be tipped off and be there. You know, it would just be hard to do.
Okay. Well, thank you very much. I've been wanting to ask you that.
Well, I'm glad you did, man. It's about time you called in.
I know.
All time see you on here on the Trail Kim. Well, thanks for calling, man.
Okay, you have a good one.
You too. Bye.
Bye.
See, a kinder, more gentle cat. That's who I am today. You know what? I was looking in the king in the mirror, and I was asking that he'd make a change. Yeah, you. That's the only talking to. Oh, hang on. Telephone call. Hello.
Hello.
Yeah.
This is Stylist.
Oh, hey, how you doing, Stylist?
Good.
So.
How are you?
Well, I'm doing pretty well in a live show currently. Hello, Stylist.
So, oh gosh.
What?
So, no, this Tom Bruce.
Yep.
You know, I knew him very well.
Now, did you know him from St. Louis?
Did I what?
Did you know him from St. Louis?
No, I knew him in California in the 90s.
Ah.
And he was, actually, I kept in touch with him and his wife for a long time.
Now, was that the same wife that he has now?
I have to turn this down. I'm echoing.
Okay, go ahead.
Same wife, Diane.
Okay. Now, he was married before that, was he not?
He was what?
He was married before he was married to her?
You know what? I don't think so. I don't think so. They got married. They were married when I met them. I think it was in 1992.
Ah.
And he was, actually, he's a mutual friend of a lot of my friends, and I knew him from church.
So he was in church at that time as well, then?
Yeah, he was in church. He was, they were very, very good to me, and they were like, you know, he helped a lot of people at the time. And so this was like a total shock to me when I heard this.
Oh.
I started searching it, and saw one of your videos on YouTube, because I think you were the only one that was covering it.
You're right. You're correct.
Oh.
Yep.
Yeah, so, yeah, it's been a big shock to a lot of people, actually.
Well, I think everybody that was that I seen that the news had talked to that knew him, that was a friend, or those that like knew him and his wife all said the same. He was a really good guy. You know, he was like a real nice guy, cheerful, loving, you know, all of that. And everybody, and one guy said, if I didn't know they had the right guy, I'd say that they had the wrong guy. He just don't come off as a guy that would do something like that. Now, that's kind of led me on the thought, and mind you, it's just speculative thought here, that what if he never was a man of God? What if he was on the other side of that fence?
You know what? It's hard to believe, because at the time I was kind of sideways, and I started going to the church, and him and his wife were the ones that helped me out.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and he was always there for me. He'd always talk to me, and you know, they'd invite me to dinner.
Yeah, you know,
and they were really like involved in like ministry, you know, helping people and ministry. And I mean, his wife was like one of the sweetest people you could know. Very kind, very gentle, very loving.
Yeah.
And he treated her really well. So it's really hard. I mean, you don't know what's going on in somebody's head.
Right.
And I heard, like, I ran into another person that knows him, and I said, this isn't true. You know, somebody framed him. There's no way this is true. And he says, well, people can change. That I guess he started drinking, and he worked for an insurance company.
Mm-hmm.
And see, the church sent him out as a missionary to plant a church.
Ah, okay.
And then I don't know what happened. I guess they had, I heard he was having some financial troubles, and then he worked for an insurance company of some kind and I didn't know any of this. I didn't know, I mean, we're Facebook friends. I would send him, you know, like stuff on Facebook, but I never like noticed anything, you know, weird. I noticed he was a little more, I don't know, I never noticed anything weird actually at all, but I haven't seen them since we moved over there.
Well, kind of the reason that I say that, and I don't know how much of my videos that you have watched up to this point, but if I look back, and that was in, God, man, hang on, I'm going to forget it. I think it was 97 or maybe it was 96. And Ann Pates was in 99, and they were right there in Genesee County, Michigan. That's where his hometown is, right there by Montrose. And in both of those cases, they had DNA and fingerprints, yet the person could not, there was nobody that matched. And both of them were brutal rapes and murders that were very horrible, very, very horrible. And that was in the late 90s. Now, again, I can go back to what Barry Scheck was saying about the possibility of him, because if he was at that base in Tennessee when Susan Collins got killed, that was exactly his modus operandi. Exactly. I mean, she was done in a very brutal way. Now, when I hear people, and it's just like you were saying, identically, everybody that's ever talked about him said pretty much what you were saying, that he was a real nice guy, super compassionate, just a great guy, you know, a great friend that really gave a shit. And I always think, well, what if he wasn't that guy? What if deep down he wasn't? Because those go back in time, but I don't suspect that those were his first either. I think that he had also committed in California when he was out there. In fact, it would be hard to believe that he was out there for that long and not, because those were only 2 years apart, and they were in Genesee County, little bitty county in Michigan. And then you look at like where he was stationed out there in California for that long, you would think there's some out there. There's got to be. There
How
has
many
to
years
be.
ago was that?
97 and 99.
I thought it was before that he was in California here.
No, it was. That's when he was in Genesee County, Michigan.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, that was after he had left the Army or the Navy and had moved back up there.
But when he was in California here, he wasn't in the Navy.
Do what?
He wasn't in the Navy in when he was in California when him and Dad were living here.
Yeah, he was.
He was?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought he was always just working at the church.
No, he was actually stationed in the Navy there, Escondido. That's why he was in California, unless he had left just prior to you meeting him.
Yeah, I don't think he was stationed in the Navy because I've been to their house.
Now, what years did you know him out there?
I don't know exactly what years it was, but it must have been early 90s, 92, 93, 94, 90, maybe 95.
See, I think he was in for 11 years.
He was here, yeah. They were here for a long time. And then they went to plant a church, and I don't know what year it was, to tell you the truth. I have no idea.
Do you know where they was going?
I know it was after, actually, I do know when it was. It was at the time of Princess Diana's death.
Whose?
It was right after that.
Princess Di?
Princess Di, remember?
Yeah, that was in 98, wasn't it?
I thought it was 94, no? Hang
on. Let me go look that up because I remember when she died and I was in Oregon and I think that was 98.
And it was that Easter. It was the Easter after her death, I think I met Tom.
Yeah, she died in August of 97.
Oh, okay, so I'm off.
Yeah. Well, see, at that time, and that would have been right about the time that he was going back to Michigan. Because I think that, yeah, everybody's got it right there. 97, yep. So I know that he was in Michigan in 97. And hang on. You know what? Let me go look that up. Let me find out when Mary Pryor died.
I knew him a few years before that.
18, 20, see.
They were here for a long time. Diane.
Yeah, that was in.
Her mom was alive. Her mom was living here.
Go ahead.
And then it was some years later. They started the church. And
that would have been Missouri, right?
Missouri, yeah.
Yeah, that was in Jackson County, Missouri. That's the church that he was at down there. That was right after he left Flint, Michigan. And I think that was right around maybe 2001, somewhere like right in that area when he moved from there down to there. And
what's really weird is I didn't even know, even being on Facebook, nobody even told me that the church wasn't going. As far as I knew, I thought it was still going. Then a friend, mutual friend, and his friends, they're like very respectable, trustworthy people. That people that know him, like from Escondido, from California.
Yeah.
They're like really trustworthy, good, genuine people.
Yeah, I think that most of the people that knew him were that way. I mean, from the looks of it, all of them seem like they're very respectable, good people.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just really hard to believe that you could be next to somebody and know them, and that they could be that way.
Yeah, well, think about, it goes back to his wife. I mean, if you look at that, it's kind of heartbreaking. I mean, because she seems like she's such a nice lady, just a really great soul. And, when the Catholic supply stores happened and they arrested him, she was like, I had no idea that he could have did anything like this. And she was very apologetic to the, family and the friends of the victims. And like I say, when the rest comes out, it's going to be, it's going to be very hard on her.
So they actually caught him do that.
He did it. I'll put it to you like that.
Was he on drugs or?
I'm sure he was drinking. And I put that as one of the main motives behind a lot of this. Because whenever he was drunked up enough to get that courage and opportunity arose and he was there, it would happen. And it wasn't anything that just changed in him, because he was always that way. I mean, when he left California and went to Michigan, and then he started the church in Missouri. I mean, at that time, I can tell you at least 2 people, minimally 2 people that he had murdered.
In California?
No. That was in Michigan.
In Michigan.
But then, he started the church down there. Then you got Evansdale in 2012, then Delphi in 2017. It's like one of those things where it's like his inside didn't change, but it was the demeanor that he gave to people that looked good. And it's one of those things where he kept it hidden. It was
how did he keep it hidden from Diane, though?
You know what? It's one of those things. I mean, look, I can look at BTK and his wife. I'm sure his wife didn't think he was BTK. You look at Gary Ridgway and his old lady, or John Wayne Gacy and his wife. It goes around like that. They just don't say, and it's not like you can read their minds. You don't really know. They keep that very separate of their interaction.
Yeah. He'd always praise her cooking, and, oh, my wife made me this. Oh, she's the greatest cook. And...
Yeah. I say the same thing about my dog a lot. I cook for him, though.
What did you say, your dog?
Yeah. Well, I cook pork chops for him. He's all the time about how good a cook I am. Dude, I couldn't live without those chops. I'm telling you right now, he says.
So these murders started shortly after he moved to Michigan. You said from Michigan to Missouri.
No, actually, the ones that I can point at happened after he left California and got to Michigan.
Okay, I didn't know they went to Michigan. I just knew that they were going to Missouri. Because
Mary Pryor was murdered in 97. I looked that up, and that was probably, man, I forgot to look. It may have been October of 97. But it was right after he left California and he went back home. And then Ann Pates was murdered in 99. That was another one where they had DNA and fingerprints. Same county, same small town. It was a town of like 400 people. And Lennon was smaller than that, and probably like 300 people. And these were very savage, brutal murders. And it was just the murders that he commits like that. So, I mean, to me, it was always there. It was just a matter of, was he at that intoxication where he felt comfortable in going ahead and doing it? Because all of his crimes are very brazen. There's the opportunity, nobody's around, and then he just hops right into it. And with that kind of brutality, it's the direct opposite of what people seen in him.
Oh, it gives me the creeps. I could have been one of those people.
I don't think he never did that to anybody that he knew. It was always a complete stranger, because there was nobody I think that knew him that he murdered. It was always someone that he didn't know, and the opportunity was there and he took it. But hey, I had a person on here earlier that wanted me to ask you if you thought that Thomas Bruce looks like the new sketch in Delphi.
What sketch is that?
Ah, man, I knew you'd say that. I knew you'd say that. Okay, are you watching the video?
Yeah.
Okay, let me go pull it up real quick for you. Give me a second. Let me pull up the new sketch because the old one does look like him. In fact, that's why they changed it to the new one, in my opinion. Let me see right here. This is the new sketch right here. Let me put that on the screen. There I am. Is anybody still here? Anybody? There. Now am I here?
Yeah, your other screen is on now.
Okay. All right. Well, yeah, sorry, my there. Okay, now let me get rid of this. Okay, everybody, one quick second. Quick minute. Let me get rid of that. And I'm going to try to pull this up again. Just there we go. Jeez, man. Okay, now I'm pulling the picture up. You ready? This right here. Does that look like him to you? Say, let me know when you can see it.
A little bit. That face is like bigger and rounder. The nose, the shape kind of looks like him, yeah.
Now, this is
But the head and the...
Yeah, well, overlook the hair. Nobody's seen him without a hat on. That was the BS of it. That's why I said it was just
a little
crap.
wide.
Let me pull the main photo up. Like, where in the hell is that? It's like it should be right up there. Now, this is the main photo.
Who did that? Oh, there he is.
Yeah, that's him.
That one where he's smiling is a good picture of him. Yeah, that's him.
That is him. And that's why I say that's why they changed to the new sketch, because they knew that looked just like him. And they're like, we don't want that. We don't want people making that connection. Like, you know, that Michael J. Katt guy will tell him that it's him and stuff. Yeah.
See, his nose was a little more round than this one that you're showing me.
Yeah. Well, that's what I'm saying. That's why I told everybody. That's why they changed it. That's why they said 18 to 40, those are out here. Oh, anything to throw you off the real truth of the matter, which I hand out.
But you have those other pictures of him.
Oh, yeah, I got all kinds of pictures, but there's only the 2 sketches.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I got all kinds of pictures of the guy. I got every picture that's publicly available of the guy. I even had a guy go down there and take pictures of him personally for me. No, I'm kidding around. I didn't really.
You're not a cop, are you?
No, but I am a private investigator.
Oh, you are?
I got the badge.
Oh.
Yeah. So, yeah.
Oh, well, so...
I got LLC and a badge, man. That makes me anything I want to be.
Happened?
Has what?
With him? He's still locked up, right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, they're not letting him out.
And now what is going to happen?
He's going to go to jury trial in October. He will get life without parole. And then Michigan, Iowa, Indiana, possibly Tennessee. I'm pretty sure California and maybe even Missouri have cases that the FBI have linked his DNA to. They are got their cases together and they will go question him concerning them.
I wonder if there's anything in California. I'm really curious to know.
You know what? California is hard to look at. It is, man. Me and a friend of mine, we've tried for months. And it's hard to find anything because they don't really give you anything very technical into it. You know, they'll say like Jane Doe was killed and, you know, murdered here and their body was found, you know, but there's no backstory to it about when she came up missing, the timing, anything like that. And it's very hard to locate his MO in that. But in Michigan, like with Mary Pryor and Ann Pates, man, just in looking, when you find those and read them, then it's like, that's him. That's him in a nutshell. Now, I called Genesee County Sheriff Chris Swanson and was talking to him about that. And I mean, I really can't give the information that he gave me, you know, because it was like private conversation. And, you know, I didn't tell him that I was going to do it like that. But I did point out and made a point that in both cases that they had DNA and fingerprints, yet there wasn't anybody they could point a finger to. Now, that is exactly identical to Delphi, Indiana. Because I know they got DNA, and people are like, yeah, but DNA is contaminated because, you know, and I'm all like, yeah, man, please shut up. Just shut up, people. You know, I know they got DNA. And I'm positive they got fingerprints because why else could Trooper Kim Riley tell me that the man had never committed a crime before? You can't say that with DNA. If the man if they got his DNA from a crime, you could say that there are crimes he has committed, you know, but you couldn't say he had never committed a crime because the only way to say if a person had never committed a crime would be as if you had their fingerprints and there was no fingerprints like that in the legal file. Then you could say he had never been caught committing a crime. That is fact. And if you don't believe me, call CSI. They'll tell you.
Yeah.
So now
it's pretty mind-boggling.
You said
it really is.
You was at his house in California?
Oh yeah. Yeah, I've been to his house. I've been to their house on Christmas.
Wow.
You know?
Yeah.
I've been to dinner at their house before. I was friends with Diane.
Now, did his son, did he have a son at that time?
I have no idea about any son he had. I don't think he had any kids. Him and Diane don't have kids.
Well, he has went by Thomas Bruce Sr., which would indicate to me that there is a Thomas Bruce Jr. See where I'm at?
No, they don't have kids.
Well, that's what it says.
And Diane, she's older than him.
Yeah. Yeah, you know, you can tell that by the photos. She's a little older than he is.
Yeah. Yeah, she's a very kind, gentle person. You know, it's just weird how a person like that can be that deceptive, you know, to surround himself with really good people. You know, that's just mind-boggling to me.
Well, Ted Bundy, and I mean, now I don't know who his friends were exactly. I never met any of them. But he said that when you take away what it was that he was doing, like serial killer wise, he said, other than that, I was just a very average guy, just a normal everyday guy. Now, I think that that's him just saying crap, because literally when you are that savage, when you're that brutal, when you have your motive to go out and do as he did, you cannot be average. And again,
it almost sounds like he was under some kind of influence.
Who? Ted Bundy?
Tom. Anyone.
Well,
to do anything like that, you would have to be under some kind of influence on something.
Well, yeah, I agree, but I think that starts with a more of a mental aptitude toward, and then when you bring alcohol into it and your courage goes up, an opportunity, like, you know, you see an opportunity, nobody's going to know I did this, nobody's around, nobody's going to see, and then you hop onto that, then it's always been in your head. It's not like he got a hold of bad drugs, you know, or something like that, and it kicked it off. I think that it was always there, but it was just very definedly masked. You know, he didn't show that publicly. He never let on that that's who he was. In fact, that may have been a motivation within that, was the fact that the people that knew him never suspected that he would do anything like that. And that was probably a kick that he got out of it, because he thought, okay, I am that guy, but people don't see that in me. And that's what he wanted.
Yeah. Oh, well.
No, man, has Delphi, Indiana, or the FBI contacted you at any time?
Me?
Yes, you.
No.
No, they never have.
Stayed away from it.
Well, I know, but somebody's on there wanting
scary.
to know if Delphi, law enforcement had reached you about Delphi, because you said that this new sketch looks like him. No, I didn't even suspect that they had it. But like the people that lived around him down there in St. Louis, they did contact him, and his friends, his family. I mean, I'm sure all of them have been talked to by the FBI. Now, the FBI, understand, and this is another thing I point to, is because when the FBI is down there and talking to his friends and neighbors and showing them the Delphi video, it's because the Federal Bureau of Investigations believes this man did it. They got his DNA. You see where I'm at? They got his fingerprints.
There's like people that know him like way better than me.
Do what?
You know, in Escondido. You know, that they could probably talk to.
They probably have.
You know what? They would probably say the same thing. They might know something bad about him that I don't know.
I don't think anybody did. I mean, some of the people that knew him that was on the news. One guy worked with him at the insurance office, and another guy said, "You know what? If I didn't know that the cops had the right guy, I would assume they had the wrong guy, because he was a good guy. He was a real polite, nice, friendly guy. He had a lot of care and compassion to him."
You know, I'm saying, like, you know, sometimes guys with guys, you know, maybe they know more than a woman would know.
No.
You know, that if he had like some kind of mental issues or anything like that.
Well, you know, the person that would probably most likely know that would be his wife, because she's around him all the time. But even she came out and said, I can't believe that it was ever in him to do anything like this at all.
Yeah. No.
And everybody stood to that side that, you know, his neighbors said that, you know, hey, he was a really nice guy. He would always stop by to see how we were. You know, he was a real nice guy.
I was having trouble actually with an ex-boyfriend, and he would always talk to me. you know, and told me to get away from him, and
Yeah.
you know, so I had no idea, you know, because all I know is a nice Tom.
You know,
And then I became friends with his wife, but I started talking to him first.
everybody says that. Everybody, you know, I mean, he's the guy that I knew, and I can't believe it. I can't. He just wasn't that way. Well, he was. And that's kind of, I mean, even if I'm just using Catholic Supply Store as the only crime, he was still that guy. And when you look at the aspects and what was done there, that is horrific. That is something that no normal guy would do. No guy that was in a church that believed in a God would do.
No.
But he did.
No, absolutely not.
And I'm glad that you contacted me, because I've wanted to talk to somebody that knew him, you know, somebody that knew him as a person, because I very much suspected that they would say pretty much what you have, because everybody that I've seen talk to has been on the same side of that, identically.
Oh yeah, I even ran into a person that knew him like pretty well, you know, and I said, "There's no way."
Yeah.
No, you know, this isn't Tom, and he told me, well, yeah, he did it. He did it, and he told me that he was in the Army, and he had, off and on, he was on medication or something. I didn't know about any of that.
You know what?
I don't know.
I'll tell you something that I found out, because it was on his Facebook page. He told somebody, and I forget what reason, and his Facebook page is still up, but he told them that he only had 15% hearing in his right ear. And I thought, 15% in your right ear? How could you get in the Navy like that? And I think that there may have been an accident when he was in the Navy. You see what I mean? That it
I
caused
never
that.
even noticed he had that hearing, actually.
It was only in one ear. But he said he had 15% hearing in his right ear.
Mm. Yeah, I'm one of his Facebook friends, actually. But I don't, see any posts anymore.
Well, no.
After that happened, it kind of freaks you out, you know?
Yeah, well, I don't think he could post right now if he had to. I'm pretty sure they got him on suicide watch, because they're not allowing him to have a razor to shave or get his hair cut, anything like that.
Well, you would think he would come to his senses. That's what I was expecting. I was expecting him to do a complete transformation, you know, and turn to God. That's what I was expecting him to do.
Well, he was in church. I mean, you would expect that he would already had been to that page, you know,
yeah.
where, you know.
Yeah, you would think he would have a repentful,
yeah,
some kind of transformation. I mean, it just goes to show you people can have, you know, knowledge in their head, but their heart doesn't match.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, and again, when you look at the serial killers, nobody suspected anything. I mean, even with the amount of people that they killed as the overall, Ted Bundy, nobody thought he was that guy. Ed Kemper, nobody thought. You know, John Wayne Gacy, nobody was thinking that. Nobody was on that page. BTK, same way. You know, the people that know him never think, well, that could be any guy. It'd be crazy guy, but not him. You know, because
that evil.
These people always play good.
Evil people that are the most, what's it called? The most behaved, or it's the good people that usually are more open, you know, and not worried about what they say and what they do, you know?
Yeah.
It just seems like that to me.
Did you see the traffic pullover that he had in Missouri?
When he was drunk, yeah.
Yeah. Now, see that right there. Now, mind you, that's a little bit different. And I mean, I can understand that, because I've been the same way to a degree. I mean, with cops, it's just like, well, hey, why ain't you over there? I mean, like, why are you pointing at me? But at the same time, it's just, would a guy that was in church be drunk and be talking to a cop like that? It just seems more unlikely. But
no, it seems like he was on something. He was like out of it.
He was on alcohol. And, I'll take
Does
that a step
alcohol
further.
do that to people?
It can. I'm an alcoholic. I mean, I can tell you, I've done some crazy shit on alcohol.
You must have been a blackout alcoholic. I've heard of that before.
Well, yeah, but no. I mean, and I say that for this reason, because if he blacked out, he wouldn't remember the crime. But he remembered the crime because he would always go back to do the same. Now, when I'm looking at the one that Ann Pates, that was right outside of Montrose, Michigan, small town, 2:00 in the morning. Now, her car broke down there on the highway. I'm sure he stopped, said, "Hey, get in. I can give you a ride into town." And she got in.
I don't know about any of that.
No, I was telling you. I was telling you for the reason of that. If he had blacked out and didn't remember it, then why would he always go back to do the same? I mean, certainly he remembered, because I believe that he left the bar that night at about 2:00 in the morning before they closed. Seen her car broke down. She was outside. That was in 99. Everybody didn't have a cell phone then. So it was like the opportunity was there. He was at a drunkenness where, he was ready, to commit that crime, and went ahead and committed it very brutally. So I don't think that he was blacked out. I think
just a shock.
Oh, yeah.
Think anybody in the right mind would do something like that,
Nobody in the right mind would.
Yeah.
And that's why I say I think it goes back to probably somewhere in an area of puberty. When that's when these things start to arise in a serial killer. It's like right in that area of time. Yeah. Hey.
Okay.
If he brings that up again, get rid of him.
What's that?
No, I'm talking about this Alex guy, because I don't want people on here, man, talking about other bullshit. It's like, yeah, we get it. And you know what? Somebody talks about that on their channel. Go there. I don't hear. Have a good one. Either sit back and enjoy the show or carry on. But don't do it again. All right. I'm sorry. Please continue, stylist.
Oh, no. I just have nothing. I have nothing to say.
It's cool.
I feel sick to my stomach, actually, talking about it.
Well,
yeah.
His wife, and again, I mean, like I feel very badly for her, because she had nothing in this at all, at anything he did, and was completely, blown down by that fact.
Yeah, she's a wonderful person. She helped a lot of women.
Yeah, you know what? I bet she did.
Yeah.
She seems like she would.
Yeah, she did.
And, I mean, I've never spoken with her. I've seen her talk on, I think this one news program. Maybe that was her speaking, but then again, man, maybe that was all written, where she did that apology to the friends and family of the victims.
That would totally devastate her. I'm sure she's totally devastated. I haven't heard from her or anything.
Kokomo, Keith. Kokomo. And it's under Michael Stroup, Stroup. Spelt like such, right here. My real name. The name my mama gave me. Oh, there it is. Yeah. Look for that under Kokomo, Indiana. Oh,
well, I'm hoping that you keep us posted on what's going on with this.
Well, I'm going to, but there's not going to be anything new until after he goes to court on that, and that's in October of this year. So after he goes to court, once he's sentenced, once he gets his DOC number, they can all go down there and talk to him. They should have all their cases ready, lined up, and, ready to go. I think they're going to do it all in one shot, try to get him to admit to all of them, give him like a plea, like, well, we'll give you life without parole if you admit to all of them. Okay, we'll do. Then that way they keep it out of the court.
Filed for divorce, do you know?
Yeah, I'm positive she did immediately. I mean, I haven't found any divorce papers, but I'm positive that they're like, yeah, man, it's yours. Believe me,
Yeah, okay.
Is it 6 months? Hang on. Wow, 6 months. We still got a half a year. Man, that makes it like 8 months before we know, man. 8 months, but still 8 months, man. People, hold on. We're almost there. If no delays. Sue, if you don't mind, keep that boot out of my groin. Yeah, if there's no delays. But it's still one of those things that, yeah, and it should be. It really should be fast. Because, I mean, like, how are they going to fight further on that? They can appeal, but I don't know how that they could delay the jury trial. They may, but why? I mean, to what point? I mean, the FBI wants the guy, man. They want to talk to him. And TB already knows he he already knows on that, and especially Delphi. I mean, they got everything on him. And now they know who he is. So they have absolutely everything on him. They got witnesses that seen him. They got DNA. I mean, they got all that. Probably a lot more.
Yeah.
Shout out to Stylist. Hey, you just got a shout out.
If it's all him, I don't know. Part of me still in shock, I guess.
Yeah. His neighbor down there, same way, identical.
Yeah.
She said, "Well, I hope he didn't do it down here. He was a good guy. I hope he didn't do that."
I hope he didn't either.
Well, you know what? I mean, I would take your side to that. I really would, because I wouldn't want to be in a world where somebody would do that. To think that there is somebody out there that would do that.
But yeah, you would expect to sense something creepy about a person.
Yeah.
You wouldn't expect the person to be a nice person. A good person, a kind person.
Yeah.
You would.
Well,
a mellow person.
I can't put anybody else into that boat. I mean, like, if you look at BTK, I mean, his family, he's a great guy, man. He's a great guy. But the people that he knew on the outside, man, I mean, they was like, he was an asshole. You could tell something was off. You could tell and they got a real sense of it, but that was people that he was stalking. You see where I'm at?
Yeah, but you would see, you would think you would sense some kind of a violent streak in a person, or a hateful, or maybe an angry violent streak or something like that. You would think you would sense something like that, in a person.
Well, now the guy that was behind him there in St. Louis, he slammed his brakes on so that the guy behind him would hit him in the butt with his car. Now, he got out of his car, Thomas Bruce did, and walked back to the guy. And the guy was standing outside of his car, and he had I think it was a Notre Dame shirt on. And he walked up, and the guy said that Thomas Bruce was like chest buttoning him. He goes, "Oh, you're one of those Catholic effers, And he said, I could tell right there he didn't like Catholics for some reason. Now, it struck me as a little odd, his whole demeanor on Catholics, because then you have the Catholic supply store. But it was like, what was so wrong with Catholics that he disliked them to that extent? I never understood that. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah, well, the history probably of the Catholic Church,
Oh, yeah? Go on.
Yeah. Probably the history of the Catholic Church.
Now, what church did he attend?
He was non-denominational. I don't know what church he started over there.
Okay. I mean, I had that, and it was wrote down. It's somewhere in my file. I got
Calvary
a Thomas
Chapel.
Bruce Wild that's as thick as it is wide.
And that's another thing too. Usually people from, they minister usually to people, a lot of the pastors, came from bad past, and they were completely transformed. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but there's that transformation that's into a better light. It seems odd that somebody would go into that with this behind them, but still carry on.
It doesn't
in the same
weird,
light.
Actually, left in and out on our own. Without God, I don't think it's above anybody to fall. To fall and go in their evil ways. I don't think anybody's above that. I think it can happen to people. To what extent, you never know.
Well,
some people's falls are lower, and some people's falls aren't that low.
If he's any thing in that, I mean, it was before, during, and after. The whole thing with the church, because I believe that it happened before.
To trigger him that was undealt with, is what I'm thinking.
Oh yeah. And I kind of look at it in a similar way. That it was something that occurred in or around a younger time in his teens that had kind of led his mind into that.
I think it could have been buried. There's sometimes people can bury stuff, and it doesn't come out for years and years. And then something else can trigger that.
Yeah, did you ever look into Susan Collins?
You can easily go. I mean, anybody can go backwards. Anybody can fall and lose their faith and their goodness, and their people are capable of doing that.
Did you ever hear of Susan Collins?
No.
Look into that, because that was in 86, and I think it was early 86. Now, at that time, Barry Scheck is saying that he was at that base down there in Tennessee, and she was actually at that base. I believe she was a Marine, and she was jogging, was near a park when the sun had went down. Anyway, she was brutally raped and murdered, and very brutally. And they got I believe, the wrong guy for that, and executed him in 2006, Smedley Alley. Well, Barry Scheck saying that he was at that base at that time, and if he was, I would put him as my number one person of interest on that, because the brutality, it fits every other that I've seen that he's done. I mean, to a T.
Girl, I don't know what year it was, though.
86.
An Escondido who got brutally killed.
Go on.
I think she was jogging at the lake or something.
What lake? Hang on, I gotta jot this down.
I think it was it Lake Hodges? No.
Lake Hodges?
I don't know if it was Lake Hodges or Lake Dixon. I think Hodges.
And that's by Escondido?
Yeah.
And approximate year?
I don't even know. I'm really bad with that part.
90s, 80s, give me a decade.
Maybe in the 90s. I don't know.
Okay. Up at 1990s question mark, maybe earlier, right?
No, it wasn't earlier. It was in the 90s or later.
Well, okay, if it was later than the 90s, he wasn't there.
It was in the 90s.
Okay. So I will look into that. Now, she was brutally raped?
I think so. Killed, murdered. I think there was one girl jogging, and then one girl was found raped. I don't know if she was. I think she was raped too.
Okay. You know what?
I think there was two girls. I think one fell on a rock. And one was actually a Christian girl, I think, that went jogging. I think she was a daughter of a pastor, or I don't know. I'm not exactly sure. I can't remember, but
Well,
just
that's fine. Anything that you can remember.
And there was also a girl, high school girl, Amber. I don't know when that was, but they found her at the reservation, one of the reservations, I think.
Yeah, you know what? I did read about that one.
Yeah. Those are the only ones I can really think of right now.
Yeah, I did read about that one because I seen that it was on a reservation. But yeah, finding those out there are kind of hard to do because you can't really pinpoint anything. And I've looked through a lot of cold cases in and around that area. A lot. You know what, Juan? Maybe.
Why not?
In fact, I believe that he very well may have been. Do you know by chance if Thomas Bruce was a Mason or not?
I don't think he was.
You know, it struck me that he probably was, man, because of the fact of how that cop let him go. He was very intoxicated. He was cussing at that cop, man, a state trooper, and he let him go about his way. And I thought, man, the only way he would do that is if he was a higher ranking Mason, and but then again, I'm not a Mason.
You know where he may have been? There is people that come in the church that aren't church people.
Shriner?
They are completely demonic people.
Shriners?
Oh, yeah.
Is that what you're talking about?
People that come in that aren't, he could possibly be one.
Are you talking about a Shriner?
I guess that's what you would call them, right?
Well,
Masons.
Shriners are 33rd degree Masons.
Yeah, they're Luciferians.
Ah, well, there it is. That just very well may be because I was thinking he was a high-ranking Mason. Because I don't know how he would have got out of getting arrested that night without being one.
That's the best cover.
Absolutely.
There's people like that you will find in churches. Definitely.
I can name one.
Well, who's that?
I don't really want to say his name right here on video.
Oh, yeah.
Bam. Hold on. Oh, wait. 2010? Yeah, but... Yeah, thank you. Right. Okay. Sterling Gypsy said 2010 Lake Hodges murder, Chelsea King. Guy confessed to it.
What's that?
A guy confessed to it. That was in 2010, though. He was living in Missouri at that time.
Who confessed to it?
Some guy. They didn't give a name.
I thought there was two of them over there.
Well, they said that then another murder recently. Hey, there she is.
This was years ago.
Oh, do they, Juan? Right on. Thanks, Juan. See, Juan's just handing out some information here, man.
Actually, somebody wrote Freemasons don't care for Catholic religion. Actually, a lot of them are Catholic. They operate under Catholic religion.
Yeah, they do. I believe that. I believe it's about keeping the power in the church. You see where I'm at?
Oh, yeah. We operate under Catholic. But life is a mystery.
Well, it may be, but not while I'm around. It's my job, if you will, to uncover these mysteries and let you know about them before you get caught. Unknowing. Yeah, that's all I had. I was just rambling.
good that you have the energy and capability to do this, because it seems like you spend a lot of time on this from talking to you.
Well, yeah, but that's fine. People enjoy hearing about from someone who knew him, because it's been something that I've been trying to find for a long time. The only person that I found that knew him was his neighbor, and she was not really willing to talk. She wanted nothing to do with talking about him. She felt in a way that he had been betrayed and that the cops had the wrong guy. I wasn't going to talk her out of that. It's like, yeah, whatever. But I think it goes beyond the Catholic supply store.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I just know they were good people.
She was.
Really know. Huh?
She was. And in fact, I'm positive that she was.
And everybody that I know, everybody that knows them thinks the same thing. They were good people.
They were good people. But again, if he did all these murders, is he a good person?
No, it's really weird that Diane didn't notice, but
Right.
You would think
right.
there would be some kind of clue.
Yeah, but she was around him through all of that. I don't think that it ever hit her ear that, hey, it could possibly be your husband, because even the cops didn't know. They had no idea, because there was nothing to trace it back to who had did it. But now they do have that. They have his fingerprints. They have his DNA.
Yeah, you would think a person like that would treat their wife bad. You would think that there would be something wrong in their life at home or with their wife, or you wouldn't think, okay, this person is like this nice guy, this good guy at home, and then this weirdo when he's not home. You just don't think that,
Yeah.
But you never know.
I do.
Yeah, you never know.
Well, we may know, and we may know within 8 months. Exactly. And that is the hope that I carry, because the one thing that I do want here is the man that committed the Delphi murders to go to court on it. Because once they make that announcement that we got the suspect, this guy confessed, and he's going to court, then Delphi can take a deep breath, send her up, and go, thank God. They got the guy.
I told a few people that know him, I'm like, you guys have to go help him. Go help him, He didn't do this. He's getting framed, and that was my first reaction.
Yeah, but you know what? Everybody's on, everybody that knew him's on your page. Exactly on your page. They all said the same thing. This ain't the guy that would do that. This blows me away. I don't think it was him, but they got the right guy, So it's one of those things that the guy was very good about keeping it hidden. So much so his wife didn't know.
Happened in the military.
His wife had no clue of it.
No, nobody did. It was a shock to everybody, actually. To his whole home church, it was a shock.
Yeah. I have seen where what they did, they didn't shut his page down on Facebook, but back right after the Catholic supply store homicide, you could go on there and look at his friends. They did close that. You can't see the people that was on his friends list. You can see the people that commented on his posts, but you can't see who his friends are directly now.
Oh, you can't?
Nope.
I don't hardly ever go on Facebook.
Well, I do. At least a couple times a day, check messages. There it is.
On Facebook.
Yeah. And that is, one more time, Michael Stroop, Kokomo, Indiana.
I am going to search and see.
And that's my Facebook page. So you can reach me on Facebook. You can see the delightful memes that I post every morning.
He doesn't have a Facebook page anymore.
Who?
Wait.
Thomas Bruce? Yeah, he does. It's under Tom Bruce.
I always knew him.
Well, I know him as Thomas, but that's how his name hit my desk. You know, Thomas Jerome Bruce.
Tom Bruce.
Tom Bruce. Tommy. Little Thomathan.
I don't see him. I see Diane.
He's got the Trump cap as his avatar.
Diane Bruce?
No, Thomas Bruce. It says
I have Diane's Facebook. I don't see him.
Hang on. Let me go
She
pull it
still
up.
has a picture of him.
Well, that's sweet of her, but
That's weird that there's an old picture of her on Facebook. I don't know if that's her, because she hasn't... Does it even say we're still friends? Wait. Let me see who these pictures
God,
are.
man, I hate this about. Yeah. Tom Bruce. Yeah, right there. His page is still up. Tom Bruce.
I don't remember these people. Let me see.
And it says Trump 2020 with the cap turned sideways. Just laying there. That's Tom Bruce. His page still
What
up
does
there.
his picture look like?
He don't have a picture. His avatar is a Trump cap turned sideways. It says Trump 2020.
Well, Diane Bruce, like, she's still on here? March 26th. Oh, I didn't know she was still on Facebook.
Yeah, I
Donna Kent, Inky Welch. I mean, these are all like really good people that are her friends. I know a lot of them. Okay, let me see if I can find Tom.
put Tom Bruce in. It should be the only thing that pops up. Trump cap. Turn sideways. Trump 2020. That's the picture. It's a Trump cap. Find it? Stylist?
No,
Okay.
I found one, Tom Bruce. He doesn't have a Trump hat on.
No, he doesn't have a Trump hat on. It's just a Trump cap turned sideways. That's it.
Oh,
It's like a black cap. It says Trump 2020 on it. Under Tom Bruce.
I found it.
There you go.
Am I friends with him? It goes message.
Has he sent you any messages?
I hardly ever go on Facebook.
Yeah, but if he has, could you read them for us?
Huh?
If he has sent you any messages, could you read them to us?
I don't know if he has.
Could you check and see?
No.
It'd be cool if he said, "Hey, how you doing, Stylist?"
That's all it says. I don't have any messages from him.
Well, did
I'll navigate through Facebook.
Did you get my email?
Excuse me?
Did you get
I
my
never
email?
go on my email.
Do what?
They're on phone.
No.
And, okay, there's a picture of him and Diane, as I remember them.
Yeah. Well, I wanted you to email me if you would, please.
What would you like me to email to you?
It's on the screen right now, mrcat420@gmail.com.
What do you want me to email to you?
Well, if you email me, you see, then I could reach you regarding questions, if I should have any.
Oh, you have my phone number, right?
I probably got it right here, I believe.
Yeah, you have my phone number.
Okay. All right.
But
Golly.
you have my phone number. Happy birthday. Hope you're okay.
Happy birthday to who?
To Tom Bruce. A lot of people who wrote happy birthday October 13th.
Oh, okay. I was going to say it's not even close to my birthday. You completely missed it.
Hugs and prayers. I don't know what happened, but I'm praying for you. So nobody knows what happened. Tell me the article about you is slander, not true.
About
Me even talking to you, it's like, when I first saw you, I said, there's something weird with this guy. I don't know if I believe it.
Me?
So this looks interesting. What is it? Disarming, populations go after individual, right?
Yeah, yes. Okay, but I mean, like, aside of reading his Facebook posts, and I mean, like, who are you talking about with the article about slander?
Oh, somebody wrote it on his message to him that they think it's slander.
Oh,
A lot of people don't believe it.
well, that's fine, and you know, I mean, like, hey, God help those people. I mean, they're a little out of it, but you know what? Like 90% of America is out of it. 90% of the American public believe the fucking news. They believe it. They believe it, man. They believe Corona. They believe it. Like, why would the government lie to us? Well, why did they take every one of your rights away? Answer me that shit. Go ahead. Why would they do that to you? Was it for your own good? Yeah, of course it was. You know, and so, yeah, people don't get it. I mean, they could see the guy do it and go, yeah, but you know what? He was suffering from like temporary insanity. It's not who he is. Believe me, it ain't. I know this guy. He's super cool. We used to hang out, man.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Yeah. If you want to know a cool guy, he was super cool guy.
You know, I could see where that would be. I mean, if you look at it, the pictures of him and his friends, and you know, all he looks like he was a pretty good guy. And I mean, from everything everybody talked about him, he was a great guy, man, great dude, super cheerful, happy go lucky. I was him, but not really.
Yeah, it's really weird. So, who are these people?
Okay, so
okay then.
Anyway, I will. I may reach you one day if that's okay.
Yeah.
And I will ask for stylist if that's all right.
Okay.
Since I don't know your name, I'll ask for stylist. Okay.
Yeah, that's fine. This is kind of hard on me.
Oh, well, I'm sure. And hey, I appreciate you calling, man. And I seriously appreciate the information that you gave us tonight, because I've been looking for someone that did know him. You know, I mean, somebody that knew him that wasn't family or something like that. And you're that person. So thanks for being here and talking about
that. To a lot of people, actually. Yeah. He was like family to a lot of people.
Yeah.
You know, and it just, I don't know. I don't know what happened to him. I really don't.
Yep, I don't either.
Yeah, something happened.
Yeah. Or he was that way for a long, long time and nobody knew. One or the other.
Yeah. You know, I think people can be disturbed. I don't know if there's like some of the, I don't know what kind of medicine they give military people. You know, it could be that too. You don't know. We don't know. None of us know.
No, we don't know. But we will know. Due time.
You know, it's possible that, you know, it was some kind of medicine that mixed with it, with the alcohol. Who knows? I don't know. I don't want to say anything if I don't know.
You're right.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. Thanks for calling. And I'll talk to you at some point or another.
Okay.
Bye.
Okay. Bye.
Okay, that was Stylist, and that was some good information. I was very happy that she had called. It was my hope that I would get to talk to somebody at some point that knew him, and she did. Actually been to his house at Christmas time. So I thank her very much for calling in. And yeah, it was. That was definitely epic. And seriously appreciated. You know, God, man, I'm trying to think of who else was going to call in. Was it Ryan? Miss Cav was going to call in tonight. So kind of waiting for Miss Cav to call and see if she's out there. And if she does, I'll wrap the show right after that. Unless somebody comes on that knew him as well, then that would be super abundantly awesome as shit. I wouldn't bypass that. Hey, somebody's calling. It might be Miss Cap. We don't know. Let's find out. It is. Hello.
Hello, Michael.
Hey, how you doing, Miss Cap?
I'm absolutely speechless.
Really? Well, I'm not yet, but pretty close.
When I told you that I didn't have another word to speak about Delphi, I guess it only took one caller to change that.
Yeah? Go on.
And I wanted to thank that young lady for calling in because I know she was emotional there at the end, and it was a difficult conversation.
Yeah,
And
I agree.
It was a brave thing to do.
Yeah. I was happy that she had called. She said that she knew him, and I was hoping that she would call because, as we've discussed many times, I wanted to talk to somebody that had knew him. And she did. Yeah, Bob Hope Jr., he's been arrested for a long time. I mean, just look at Google, man. Just Google that. His name will pop up all over the place. Catholic supply store.
Yeah, he's been incarcerated for what? Almost a year and a half now.
Yeah. See, wait. Yeah. 1 year, 5 months. 1 year and 5 months. So it's pushing a year and a half that I've had to repeat myself. A year and a half. And I still have 8 months more to go. Will I make it? Can I do it? Will I continue? Will I just be repeating myself every week? Fuck yeah. Hang on. You'll see.
Well, I am very glad she called, and maybe Miss Cognito, if she's still on.
Yep.
The chats can answer whether or not Missouri has pre or post DNA collection as far as conviction goes. Because when some states wrote those DNA laws at first, and you and I have talked at length about some of the old laws about new technology and how bad they are. I'm wondering if Missouri had the straight old law on their books where they had to be convicted first, or if they can with a search warrant, and I'm sure they can with a search warrant, get Thomas Bruce's DNA and get it into CODIS.
Yeah. Well, again, though, I mean, when the FBI obtains that, it does go into CODIS.
If everything goes right.
Well, how could it go wrong?
Somebody forgets.
Forgets to put it in CODIS? That's the point of them getting it.
Oh, I know. But it has happened. The point of the conversation is you and I have chatted a lot about
hold on a second. Hang on. Let me answer this real quick. If he died of the virus, the Chinese infection, the Wuhan, the big scare, the invisible tactics, could they legally test his DNA then? Well, since they already got his DNA, they can legally test it anyway. Because, I mean, the guy's dead. What's he going to do? Raise a hand and say no? I don't think that he's going to get the virus. If he did, he's got all the doctors in the world that will keep him alive because they're not going to let him slipping out with a virus, believe me. And again, on top of that, anybody has died of corona probably was about this far from dying anyway, to my knowledge. I don't know anybody that's got it. I don't know a single soul that has corona. No one. And anybody they state in Indiana has it, they probably had the damn flu. And they took a turn and go, I can't breathe. You got coronas. Why? And now we're going to forcefully vaccinate everybody to keep you safe. Go ahead, man. It's back to you.
Okay, well, I am sure that the FBI has gotten a search warrant of some kind signed by somebody and has gotten his DNA. Or they could have taken his trash when they arrested him. They can always collect it surreptitiously.
Yes, but
that is part of the law.
You do know that the FBI was there right after he was arrested and got his DNA.
Oh, I am positive of it because they were showing pictures around.
No. They did. They did go down there and get his DNA. That was in the paper. They were right there, right after his arrest, and got his DNA. And they took it back to put it in CODIS. And in the news down in Missouri was saying they put it into CODIS to check for a match. They have nothing yet, but they're still looking. And that's when it all just went quiet, man. It left the building with Elvis because they said no more. Quiet on that fucker. Don't mention dick about TV. Zzz. And the news said, gotcha. We ain't talking shit about TV. And that's where it stopped right there.
Bring up another serial killer that was botched for almost 35 years, and that's Samuel Little.
Yeah.
And different, 1, 2, 3, I believe 3 different state agencies in different states, Alabama, Florida, and where was the other one? Up in Mississippi, I think, had him for cases with DNA match. And for some reason, he was able to wiggle out of it every time. Because the women were sex workers, I guess, he said, yes, I was intimate with them. It was consensual, or I danced with them. And they could never put him at the scene until they caught him on the last one, and then everybody wanted to talk to him. And he's up to 93 women. And that went on for 35 or 40 years. I can't remember how long.
Yes, but, and I always like to repeat this, DNA's new. It's not the nail in the coffin. There's always been murder cases with murderers that were convicted, and there was no damn DNA. So
you're right.
When we talk about DNA, people think like it takes DNA, or you're just shooting in the wind. No, it's BS. And besides that, they have his DNA, and everything's a go there. It's not a matter of them whether they can use his DNA. Yes, they can. They can get a warrant. Yes, they can. They talk? Yes, they will. As soon as this case is over, they will talk to him, and it's all a go. And again, and I say that because I don't think that the DNA is the holdup. I never did. I thought once they got him, okay, they got his DNA, there you go. Now, whether the prosecutor can use that, whether it's done in Indiana or not, beside the point. Do they know it's a match? Yes, they already know. So does the prosecutor. Will the prosecutor get a warrant for his DNA? Bet your ass he will. Because they're going to have that, and they're going to have that in the bag before they even file the charges. That's a guarantee. So I'm not really thinking that like the DNA or where it was done is the holdup, because they already know what matches. They know that it's the guy to me. And I've thought that for a long, long time. Once I figured it all out, I'm like, they've known since shit. At least. Well, probably right at his arrest. I think when they called Carroll County, they said the fingerprints match your unknowns. And I think they just went like that, and it continued on. I think they got all the ducks in a row, and right now they're just waiting to go talk to him so they can wrap it up. But that's the way I'm looking at it.
Well, and I think you're right. I also think that it's taking time to go back through all these places that he's lived and visited and trying to find out if there are other cases out there. Because that was right when computers were coming online, and, between, if he did the Susan Collins murder all the way up to the Catholic supply store, that's 1985 or 86.
86, yep.
Through 2018?
Yeah, 17.
That's a long time.
17.
That is a darn long time. And that's what, 40 years? No, 30,
4.
35,
Yep.
close to 35 years.
Yeah. That's a long time, man.
And he may have flown under the radar all that time.
I believe he did.
Well, I'm believing it more every day. I'm close to the 99%.
You see, I was
closer
at
than we talked
98.
last time.
I was at 98 once.
It just all gels.
Exactly. You know what? We're not alone in this. We're not. In fact, I can name a couple other people that are right here in chat right now that believe identically. Identically. Well, maybe not identically. I might be pushing a little bit, but pretty dadgum close. What up, man? You need to go out, don't you? Don't you? I knew it. He needs to go out.
Okay,
Wait.
well, I can
No.
get off.
Oh, wait. Unless you want to hang on for a minute. Can you just talk?
I can probably just talk.
All right, I'll be right back. Let me take Wolf out. Go ahead, man. Start talking. And talk about DNA.
Let me start talking.
Come on, man.
Thomas Bruce.
That's right. Thomas.
One of the things that I've always believed, and that's with BTK, Ted Bundy, and Gary Ridgway, is that they seem to have compartmentalized and kept their bad life away from their good, and very purposely. And they always had excuses for being gone, and the wives never seemed to notice any bloody clothing, any blood in a vehicle, anything weird around. Now, with Colonel Williams up in Canada, he was the head of their biggest Air Force base in Canada, and they caught him after he murdered 2 women. But he had been involved in a bunch, and I mean, I think it was 80 or 90 break-ins where underwear was taken and things like that, and people never suspected him. And I don't think when they went around to his neighborhood to interview him, or to interview people, because the robberies and the rapes were happening right kind of in his area. That's one of the areas he operated in. But they didn't even go to his house to interview him during that first round of interviews. They got him going through a tire pattern checkpoint and brought him in for questioning right away, and he confessed. And I was very impressed with the man who interviewed him, because he did a tremendous job, and he has a technique that works. And I guess they brought him in from Ottawa.
Who are you talking about?
The interview. So anyway, Michael.
Who are you talking about?
Colonel Russell Williams up in Canada.
There you go.
And how men, serial killers, always kept their bad lives away from their good.
Yeah, right. I'm with you.
And none of those 4 wives that I mentioned,
I wasn't here,
had any clue. I think Ted Bundy's did, because of the Volkswagen and the name and maybe the drawing. But she turned him in, and the police seemed to clear him up in Seattle.
You know, is that the one that he didn't get hit with?
He didn't get hit with a lot of them.
Yeah, but was that one of them?
You know, I don't remember, because it was early on.
Yeah.
And he was still at the university, and people were... So it was before he graduated with his 4-year degree, and before he went to law school. Well, while he was still in Seattle,
Yeah, man, you just went out.
his friends were teasing him because he was Ted and he drove Volkswagen.
Yeah, imagine being
Yeah.
that guy for a minute.
His girlfriend had something happen. I can't remember what it was. And she turned him in. And they interviewed him, and only once. And never came back to him for whatever reason.
Yeah, it's a wrap, man. Mhm.
But I think Thomas Bruce could have been doing this for a long time.
Yeah, I do too. And that's why I brought that up to Stylist out there. And she says, like, out here in California too. I mean, he was with, and again, it makes me wonder what side of the church was he really on? Because I mean, a person who is really in the church for God and all like that, you don't expect that they would go out and do things like brutal rape and murder and so on like that, right down to sodomy, for the love of God. That would seem something very opposite of the way that they would believe internally. Whereas this guy definitely did not, and he was on that side. It just took the opportunity to go there. There's on the trail cam. Yeah, I'm with you. You know what? I've been quarantined a long time with Wolf. And you know what? Wolf makes it all good, man.
Yep, Wolfie makes it all good.
He's my baby, man. He's the only son I have right now currently. He's the crown prince of Uganda. No, the true crown prince of Uganda.
The true crown prince.
Yeah, well, you got to say it right, man. It's a DBA.
Well, I get that. And I don't know how to say it like you do.
The true prince of Uganda. There it is, man. You know what? I should sign him up, man, and get him a DBA as the true prince of Uganda, man. Think about that. That'd be cool.
It would be cool.
That's his name, man.
And
he does business under that name.
I'm just amazed that Stylist called in, and she was obviously upset.
Yeah.
To think that she knew him and didn't have any clue that he was capable.
Everybody is like that with him. And I mean, it's something we talked about. It's like every person that I've seen that they've talked to, man, his neighbor, his friend at work, one of his friends, his wife, all of them were the same way, including Stylist. It's like I was in shock. I thought that he was framed. I couldn't believe that he had did that. Him and his wife were good people. They were very caring. They helped a lot, and it's like, well, if you're doing something that monstrous and demonic, but yet you're acting over here with the church and who you are, well, who are you really? Are you this guy over here, or are you this demon over here? I would have to assume that you're this demon over here, hiding as this guy over here. Now, if that's true, then in the church, I would take on the fact that he probably was Masonic. He was probably doing that to put the power of the Masons in the church, which is what they do. I'm just saying, but they do. And he may have been to a different side of what it is that we feel that you do in church. He may have been toward more of a demonic type in his head. He may have seen a differing God than the other people. In that way, more of a demonic God, not really like the God, creator God. Well,
I wonder if his lawyers having him evaluated psychiatrically.
His what?
I wonder if his lawyers are having him evaluated by a psychiatrist.
Oh, I'm sure. I mean, that's probably one of those things that they would naturally do in a case like this. I mean, you got to get every piece of evidence you can in, withhold a little bit so you can appeal. Make sure you get plenty of motions in to appeal later.
I didn't see anything in his file that they had filed any motion any extra funding, but I don't know what the court rules are down in Missouri as far as requesting money to do that. They may get it some other way.
Yeah.
But I just wonder what they're putting him through right now and talking to him about whatever kind of defense they might come up with, because I think they're going to have to really reach to get anything. And I think insanity is the only thing that they could go with.
Well, but I mean, when I'm looking at that, I mean, you got 3 women. One was shot dead. You had 2 people that were right there that are going to be there to testify that, yeah, it was him. No doubt about, it's like they have to go something to the inside, because really just looking at that case at the Catholic supply store, what do you have to defend? I mean, and what stance could you take to defend that as, well, he wasn't feeling good that day. No, it had to be at least temporary or total sanity. That things happen and this occurred and, this, made that little switch happen. And he would have outbursts like that when he had been drinking, a temporary insanity. That's a way. I mean, if I was a lawyer, that's the way I would approach it, because there is no way to just look at the evidence and everything that transpired there and say, this guy didn't do it. Well, he did do it. I mean, you got 2 people that he did it to that were right there when it happened. So they really going to have to, if they're looking for any kind of a way to get out of life behind bars without parole, it would be temporary insanity or insanity. But if it's insanity, how come everybody that knew him would say, well, he was a great guy? It would have to be something more of a temporary, but then the prosecution would bring up, no, he was drunk. This guy already had that in his mind to do that. Opportunity arose and there it was. But I think that they will try to get on the insanity plea, because that's the only thing that would fit the, crime.
I can't even contemplate anything other than that unless he pleads it out. And I think his lawyers right now were wishing they weren't appointed.
Nah.
Yeah.
Man, if I was a public defender, I would hope for a case like that. Not that somebody would die, but I'm just saying, like, a case like this, because look, man, that makes that public defender's life. This guy now has a world case in front of him, that he's defending. So now he gets to go in there and show what he can do. So I think that they're going to go with, and again, I mean, like if he accepts a plea, like what? If you just go ahead and plead guilty, we ain't got anything else on you. We'll lower it to life behind bars and you can get parole in 30 years. Okay. Now I got to go face like a bunch of others, but all right. There would be no reason to really take it down. Now, if they was going for death, then yeah, they could try to talk that to life behind bars without parole, but life behind bars without parole, where do you really plead down to? I mean, they got him down there by the testicles. There ain't no way out. There is none. He's going to get whatever it is that they're going to sentence him to, because, man, what is their total? 17 or 18 felony counts just on the Catholic supply store? It's like all they need is the first one. Did you knowingly shoot her in the head to commit murder? Yes, you did. And there is not a jury out there that's going to buy otherwise, unless it's an insanity plea. But they would have to really believe the insanity plea. And I think that that's going to be hard for them to buy, because when you look at the guy, they said when he went to court the one time that he was just like an average guy. You would take him to be a professor. You wouldn't take him to be as a person that would commit this kind of crime. And I think that the jury would see it identically.
Well, I hope Indiana has the wherewithal to file for the death penalty. If there's ever a case that's been tried, it's this one that it fits to a T.
Yeah. And I'm with you.
I hope Robert Ives can do that, because the community, it's a debt to the community, to the families, to everybody who's ever done anything involved in this case. It's one of those that we expect the worst punishment possible.
Yeah. And again, if they gave him life without parole, where's the, it's what he already had. You brought him up here just to say, we got the guy, there you go. Well, that may be good for law enforcement, but for Indiana and Delphi and the Carroll County as a whole, where does it go? I mean, to what did you do? You gave him what he already had, which isn't what people want. People want this guy to hang for it. I'm one of them.
Well, I certainly think it warrants it. And it's really too bad that it can't be done sooner.
Well, we're looking at like 8 to 10 months, somewhere right in there, because it's going to be 30 days after that'd be October. So it'd be December through February of 2021, right through those months. That's when you'll be looking at it. That's when it'll pop up. That's when they'll say, we got him. Ladies and gentlemen, we got him. But again, I kind of go back to the fact of, given the amount of murders that's been done and the ones that we don't know about, how will they do that with all these states unless they roll it into one and get him to plead to all of them for life without parole? And you can serve that in Missouri. Now, if they go that direction, I'm calling them ballless bitches. They have no testicles, because that is not the direction that it should go. And hey, if I had to be that old school judge, I'd do it. You will hang by your neck tomorrow until you are no longer.
If they roll those cases into one,
do what?
It's going to be the feds that do it, and he won't be spending his time in Missouri. They'll put him in the federal system.
Well, he was already sentenced in Missouri. That means that he would have to do that time first.
I think Missouri would say, here, take him.
I don't know that they can.
Well, I think they can. They could have a recidivist or an agreement to take him and let him serve the state time in federal prison, and then start serving his federal time.
Hang on a second. Lollipop says, I have a question. Did Ives come back as prosecutor before or after TB was arrested? After. But I think only for that case. Because we still have the...
he came back specifically to prosecute this case.
Specifically, exactly. Now, we have the new guy in, but he's not going to be prosecuting the Delphi murders case. I think that is Robert Ives, but if they move it, would it still be Robert Ives, or would it be a different prosecutor?
It would be the same prosecutor. He would go with the case if they changed the venue.
Yeah, and I'm positive they will.
Yeah. Well, and the other thing that is happening right now, the prosecutor is looking at what it will cost to prosecute a serious felony case versus a death penalty case. Now, a regular penalty case in the state of Michigan, I happen to know, costs about $20,000 for a 2 or 3 day trial. This is going to be longer than that.
Yeah. And
they're going to have to look at the cost, because I would imagine, I haven't looked to see what the prosecutor's budget is in Delphi or in Carroll County, but county prosecutors are never funded well. They have to live within a budget. And when you prosecute a capital case, it could easily be 3 or 4 or 5 times that $20,000. I don't know what it costs to prosecute a death penalty case in the state of Indiana.
Well,
I have seen them go as high as $2 or $3 million. And one example, and it's a lot more involved, but is in Pike County, Ohio, with the Wagner family, 4 of them accused of capital murder in the murder of 8 Roden family members. And they have spent virtually millions of dollars on that case. I can't even imagine what the total is so far, and they haven't even started trials yet. And that's no joke. So they're looking at it from a money angle, a budget angle too.
Yes,
what the state of Indiana may have to do is come in like the state of Idaho is doing now with Lori Vallow, and the Attorney General is going to be prosecuting it and taking care of the expenses that go with that case, because counties just can't afford it. And now we've gone through this coronavirus thing, and taxes are really going to hit this year. And starting next year, municipalities are really going to suffer because they're not going to have the budget to do this.
Yes. However, with the media,
however's.
The what?
I said, Michael, I love it when you say however.
Yes, well, that's because I was trying to say something here, is that the media, because it's going to be thick when this goes to court. Yeah, there's going to be some kind of cut in with the media, because the media is going to want big exposure into this. And I think that that's where some of that money is going to be fronted from. It's right out of the media's pockets to him. I don't think that anybody's going to feel like they're getting shortchanged out of this, because look, he's going to be like, what was her name? Susan Clark or whatever, you know, with O.J. Simpson. You know, that's the prosecutor. Marcia Clark. That's right, man. That was her hot name. Marcia Clark. Man, she was a good looking prosecutor. I really dug her style. But yeah.
And the other one you're attracted to.
Who?
Jodi Arias.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Well, she wouldn't make a good prosecutor. Or maybe she would. I don't know.
I wouldn't stand in the same room with her.
I would.
I know you would. But back to the subject.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I think that with all the media it's going to be there, I think that they will make a big cut into that. I really do. I don't think that Robert Ives is going to feel like he's getting shortchanged or losing money or anything like that. Because after that's done, he's probably going to be the one writing the book. You know, it's going to be from the eyes of Robert Ives. You know, that's what I'm thinking. I think that this is going to be really big, really huge. It's going to make his entire lifetime. He's going to be like, damn, I wish this had happened when I was in my 20s, you know, something like that. But I don't think that anybody's going to be like, it's not worth my time to do, because he's probably set up and ready and counting the freaking days, so to speak.
Well, he might be, but he's worried about how he's going to pay for it out of his budget, which is only funded by the state of Indiana.
But again, I think that some of that's going to come into play here with the media and the like, man. Believe me, they're all in the same bed. I know how they are.
I don't know. I think if Indiana would get smart and dump Gary into Chicago, they'd have a lot less budget issues. Yeah,
but then Chicago would have to pay for it. They don't really have money.
You just do it. You just do it. But no, I hope he has the wherewithal to ask for the death penalty. I know that's a political football, but if there's ever been a case that warrants it, it's this one.
Yeah. And again, that's one reason why I was on this case.
Well, I think that's correct. But anyway, I will let you go and let someone else phone in.
Well, I was probably going to end it here. I was just hoping that you'd call in, you know. So, but it's after 8. I've been on here 2 hours and 20 minutes. I'm hoping that's enough for this week. And you know what? Hey, man, maybe next week, man, we can get another caller like this week. Hell, I'd like to have Stylist call back next week. if she's even still out there right now. But that it was great hearing from her. In fact, I would like to come up with some questions to ask her like next week. But she told me I could give her a call back, and I don't know if she would mind if I put that on Audacity where I could just make it into a regular video. But it's always after you talk to somebody where it's like, I should ask him that, and that's what I'll probably write down, anything that I come across like that I could ask her later. But I'll reach her and see if I can't get those questions answered.
Yeah, it might be a good thing to wait a couple days.
In fact, you should think of some stuff too.
Okay, well, I'll get them in an email to you, because I did have a couple of questions, and I think Incognito had some.
Did she?
I believe so.
Okay. Incognito, if you want to call in, or please do if you're still out there. Calling Incognito.
All right, you have a good night.
Okay. I'll
a hug.
Come here, man.
And everybody stay healthy and safe.
Don't catch the invisible scare.
Yep. Bye-bye.
All right, bye. All right, if anybody's going to call, let me throw my number up here real quick. Right here, this is the number you call. It's also scrolling across the bottom right there, but right above it, it's in some big ass letters and stuff. My call. Hello.
Hey there.
Hey, it's Incognito, everybody. Hang on. Yep, it's Incognito. It says so right on the caller ID. How you doing?
Good. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. Thank you.
Good. You had a great caller. I love that Silas.
Yeah, I did too. Yeah, it was good to hear from somebody like that. It really was. Kind of made my year at this point.
Me too. I could just hear it in her voice.
Yeah.
She was just devastated.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. And it was always my thought that if I was talking to somebody that knew him, like as a friend like that, that's where they would be, that they would just be blown away by the fact that he did that.
Yep. And you got the right person to convey that to all of us. Yeah.
Yep.
Amazing. Now, I don't want to take up much time. I know you're wanting to get off of here. So I just wanted to know if you had heard anything back from the sheriff in Genesee County.
No, but this week and last, I've kind of put it on my agenda to call him because he was supposed to reach me by the end of last month and never did, has not reached me at this time, but he did give me his personal number to call him. So I will probably end up calling him and just finding out. But again, I don't know on that how much, because I would ask him as to if I could release that. But I mean, like if he did go down there, or if he was going to go down there and they said no, I don't know that he would want that mentioned publicly. I mean, I don't know. I'm not law enforcement. See where I'm at?
Definitely. They might just say, don't be telling anybody this information.
Yeah, exactly. And you don't betray that. Hey, it's Jimmy Juice. I didn't even see that was Jimmy. Hey, Jimmy.
The invisible scare.
The invisible scare. Don't catch it, man. That shit's invisible. Never forget that. If you could see a virus, you'd be running right now.
For sure. I think the only other question I had with Stylist was, I think she answered it because I think I put in chat, was there any other cases at the time and the place in which she knew TB? And she alluded that she thought there was one.
Yeah.
At that time. And it could have been possibly 2 victims. So that's interesting.
Yeah, exactly. I jotted that down so I could look into it. Now, I forget who it was. May have been Juan, but they typed in there and gave the name, something King. I'll have to look back through that. But that was in, I think, 2010. And she said this and went back to the 90s, but I will check into that and see what I can find, because if you got information like that where you can kind of keyword that into Google, it definitely helps pull a case up like that.
Yeah.
And hey, I haven't seen any videos you put out recent. Why is that?
I know, I have failed. No, I haven't had the time.
Okay. I knew it was, man. You would think under quarantine you'd have a little bit more time. A little bit more time.
Not in healthcare.
You know what? See, I was going to talk to Ted Barris this week and get the lowdown on HPD 77. Did not hear from Ted Barris. Did not even hear from him this week. So I'm trying to hook that up, man, where we can get on here, get on video chat. I can ask him the questions, man. Then I can put that into a video that I can upload before I go live the following week. Want to get that done this week. And I say I should every week. It's not as if I'm not trying. I need that communique. I need the communication out there.
Yeah, I hear you. You think with more time, it just doesn't happen.
Exactly.
I do want to go live. I did kind of check out StreamYard.
Yeah.
Sometime when you're free, maybe we can have a test trial.
I'm free all day. All you got to do is give me a call and we're already there. And I'll run you through everything on it.
Awesome.
Yep. And you know what? You will like StreamYard. You really will.
It seems pretty easy from what I checked out. We'll see if I can do it.
You know what? It is Angela. You know who I'm talking about? Angela Hope.
Yeah. Yeah.
She stopped by the one time. She's like, yeah, but I mean, I'm going to have to stop by so I can see it. I'm like, okay. You know, so she stopped by and she goes, okay, that's just like you were saying. I'm like, yeah, exactly. It's not hard.
Yeah.
It's only a few buttons. I mean, you got share screen, invite my cam, blah, 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 mute. There it is. Anything aside of that, man, it's all just hitting a button. I mean, I'm not really doing anything right here, man. See, you can see my hands, you know, Alaska Blue and you guys, you're doing it all. All my mods.
Maybe to get on live might take a little bit of trying to make a video off of, you know, it'd be better to go live than try to make a video right now. So we'll see.
You know what? One thing I didn't figure out. Well, okay, you remember how when you was on my StreamYard, how you had the avatar pop up?
Yes.
I can't do that.
Oh.
I can't because I got to see my questions over there, you know, in the chat, and there is no way I can pop an avatar up in my place. Now I could do this. Avatar in it. See where I'm at?
Okay. I did figure that part out for me, but I wonder if it's because I don't have the cam. Oh, I see. Yeah. Interesting.
So yeah, anytime that you want to look at it, and I told Icons that I'm just like, you know, just reach me, man. If it's in the daytime, I'm sitting here. I'm quarantined. I'm in the house or I'm out in the woods with Wolf, one or the other. And now I got rats, man. I got rats to breed. Well, I mean, they breed. I'm not, you know, breeding rats personally. You know, don't be nasty, people.
There you go.
There's only there's things I do and things I don't, and one of them's that I'm not breeding rats.
We appreciate that.
Thank you.
Maybe if you're not doing anything on Thursday, I will give you a holler about that, and maybe I'll try to go live Friday or Saturday night.
Okay, yeah, you know what? I can we can get on here. I can show you exactly how it operates. Now, I mean, I paid for mine is $25 a month, but I get the green screen and all that with it. You know, I can throw the banners and the phone number and all that up. People like that, so you know it's worth the money to go that route. You can pay like $25 a month or put it up for a whole year, and it's less than that, but it still comes up a couple $100. So I just pay mine monthly.
I'm going to try to use my icon, so I don't think I have to have the green screen. I'm hoping I can just use the free version for a while. We'll see. Yeah,
well, and again, I mean, there's just the added things that you can do, like the little icon up in the right corner where it's got TB walking there, and you know, stuff like that you can do that's extra with the green screen. The green screen might come along with it free. I don't really know, but tomato. I mean, hell, I used mine for months before I ever paid a dime for it, and it worked just fantastic.
All right. Well, I didn't mean to talk about all that on my channel, but yeah, thanks for having that caller. That is awesome.
Well, I was glad that they called. I really was. I was very happy that they called.
And I came on right when I believe On the Trail Kim was talking right at the end. So I'm going to have to do the replay and hear the first part.
It was good to hear from her. See, I see her on here all the time. Never heard of her. Never heard her. You know, I was like,
Yeah,
oh,
we
cool.
like
It's
new
On the Trail
callers.
Kim. Shit. Do what?
Great new callers. I said, we like new callers. That's awesome.
I do. Yeah, it's always good to hear from somebody that I didn't know. There was a guy that got a hold of me this week in the comments and said, oh, dude, I used to be like subscribed to your old channel. Man, okay, I didn't know you had a new channel, man. I'm glad I found you. And I'm like, hey, thanks for being here to watch, man. It's cool.
Wow, that's cool.
Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah.
They was on my old channel. That's just like history now.
My
There's On the
child
Trail
wants to
Kim.
say hello to you. Is
Do
that
what?
okay?
Do what?
My child wants to say hello to you. Is that
Oh, yes, please.
She sees you on the screen all the time, and so she feels like she knows you.
Okay.
Okay, just say hi and then.
Hi.
Hi, how are you?
Good.
Doing good?
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah, I'm doing good.
well, I'm glad you're on here. Hey, thanks for viewing. All right.
Yeah.
Goofy. They don't leave me alone. Okay.
Yeah, it's
I
like
will
what?
let you
He's
go.
staring at me right now. Does he want on? Probably. Is he going to get on? Not till his birthday. Nah, you can get on. I'm just fucking with you, dog. I'm just fucking with you, bear. All right, come here, man.
Well, you take care, Katt, and I'll be talking to you soon, okay?
All right, man. Thanks for calling, Incognito.
All right.
Peace.
Bye.
All right, everybody. Thanks for calling Stylist, On the Trail Kim, Miss Cav, Incognito Society. Thanks, mods. Thanks, everybody, for viewing this week. I am in hope that I'll have the video up by next Tuesday. We'll see. Until next week, I want everybody to take care and don't catch the invisible scare. Peace, everybody.